Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be talking about the missions of an HR department.
HR departments are often used as scapegoats for anything and everything. Some people say they're too bureaucratic when others see them as nothing more as a bunch of shoulders to cry on. Or a department that makes everyone but them happy.
All of these characterizations are both simplistic and unfounded. The head of HR isn't an obscure expert you only see when you're hired or fired, or a gentle, idealist eccentric who believes that fake kindness and positivity can make you happy regardless of your real feelings.
And they're definitely not bragging about the number of heads they've sent rolling over the course of their career. In short, HR is a department that everyone's talking about, but which few people really know much about. So, what are the basic missions of an HR department? What's the story?
The department's strategic contribution is its ability to promote the company culture long-term, provide its perspective for strategy development, and make strategy a reality once it's been decided. Let's focus for now on this last point, rolling out strategy, to see which missions lie at the foundation of an HR department's activity.
Its first mission is to make sure that the company has the required motivated talents in the right place to meet the goals it set, and to constantly adjust trajectory depending on how the situation evolves. The goal is to make sure the business runs smoothly both now and in the future.
So there's a collective aspect to it, workforce planning, which amounts to constantly anticipating the company's needs in terms of employees and then meeting them. In other words, it's about the skills the company needs.
That's right, and sometimes we get those skills from elsewhere, with temporary employees or subcontractors, in which case we use the term extended workforce.
And a workforce needs managing, of course. You have to manage the employee's entire life cycle, from hiring to departure, by way of other highlights like integration, skills development, recognition, engagement, performance assessment, career path, mobility, and more.
Each of these steps is an HR process for each area. The HR department designs the required policies and action plans, and then implements them. This, of course, applies to the major areas everyone thinks of when they think HR: hiring, training, etc.
There are two important things to know about the way an HR department handles these different processes.
First, there is no one-size-fits-all way to divvy up the employee life cycle, or the processes that go along with it, and there are as many different names for them as there are companies.
Second, it's important to remember that within each of these internal HR processes, there are operational and administrative aspects, medium-term management aspects, and last but not least, strategic aspects, which involve long-term vision and create value.
For example, if we look at wages, the aspect with focuses on the long term and has strategic implications would of course be the comprehensive pay scale and policy, whereas the medium-term aspect would be payroll management, and the administrative and logistical aspect would be actually making sure everyone gets paid.
In addition to the HR processes that align with the employee life cycle, there are also intersectional processes, which impact all segments of the HR mission or all its key processes. Social relations, the HRIS, and the employer brand are just a few examples. They are intersectional because their stakes affect all other areas, and because they are drivers of efficiency and consistency.
Yes, consistency is key. The different HR processes may not always line up between companies, but it is crucial that they be coherent with respect to one another and align with the company's strategy and culture.
HR missions are so much more than what we once called personnel management, or a narrow view of social relations boiled down to conflictual interactions with social partners.
Exactly. And human resources aren't limited to a particular area or process like payroll or hiring either, though they may be more visible to employees. HR covers a vast field of responsibilities, at the heart of which lies the very soul of a company, people, and culture.
To recap, human resources make sure that a company has the right skills in the right place to meet its business goals. To do that, the department implements job needs forecasting and manages the employee life cycle, from hiring through to departure. To successfully carry out these missions, it is also responsible for intersectional activities like social relations and the HRIS. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short. Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.